How you
Brilliant.
doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you so much for the opportunity to let
No,
me speak to you today.
really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I've got quite a bit to talk
Always,
about.
man. I love speaking to people.
You've got quite an interesting story yourself. I mean, you grew up in
Oh,
Malta, didn't
thank
you?
you. Yeah, I'm actually here right now visiting my mom and dad.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
uh, so um, I come from Malta and I basically sold everything I owned like 4 years ago
Yeah.
and rocked up to a studio in London, which was really, really crazy,
Yeah.
but amazing.
Yeah. I mean, just going back to the beginning there. What were your kind of early musical memories in Malta? Was music kind of a big
And
part of
my
your life?
dad, my dad was in a band. My dad was in a band
Right.
called Getting Closer. It's a local band, and obviously that was always apparent to me because if I look up my dad on YouTube, I see him still having hair, and I was bald,
Yeah.
rocking it out. He played before Joe Cocker in Malta.
Wow.
He used to play. He used to actually go up to London to try get. He tried to go up to London to get a record deal back in the 70s
Oh, okay.
and 80s. But obviously, um, uh, it's much. It wasn't. It was even though it's hard to get one today. It was even harder to get one back then when you were
Right.
trying to travel from Malta with no internet, no connections, just rocking
Yeah.
up with the disc with the tape recorders, trying to show them the music.
Yeah. I mean,
Um, sorry, carry
was music. I mean, was music all around? I take it music was all around you then when you were growing up.
on. I love music. Music has honestly been the one thing which I feel like I've been able to do and enjoy doing. Like I feel like I never was good at school, never good at sports. My coordination of my feet is really bad. It's like I have two left feet, so
Yeah.
like I can't cross the ball, score a ball. So thankfully, music has been like the one thing I've seen progression in and seen
Yeah.
like something happen out of it. So
Yeah.
working with such incredible talent as a writer first, and now obviously being offered to work with Polydor and like this to release music which comes from the heart because that's my rule. My one rule is I never write songs which don't come from the heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that I'm able to release songs which I love and I write about myself is just so it's a form of therapy for me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, just you talked about your dad and obviously it being difficult getting a record deal growing up in the 70s. What about for you growing up in Malta? I mean, what was it like as kind of an aspiring artist?
I never wanted to be an artist in Malta because of the, the lack of industry which is here.
Yeah.
No record labels exist. There's only about four real professional songwriters on the island who all have
Right.
part-time jobs. There's no industry in Malta, so that was a big reason because I'm a family man. I've grown up in the same street as my uncle, my aunts, my granddad, and my cousins for my
Right.
whole life. So I had my whole family at my doorstep. So obviously leaving was a big sacrifice to make, but I was so desperate to get out and
Yeah. Yeah.
have a give myself a fighting chance for a career in music. I had to do it.
Yeah. I mean, what was the trigger for coming over to London? What made you say, right, I'm going to pack everything up, sell
I
everything?
was stalking. It might be
Are
weird, but
you
I just
mad?
started stalking. I started stalking writers, and I realized most of them live in London.
Yeah.
Most of them like they situate and go around Tyler go around East Coast Studios and the Dairy Studios. I started looking up Decoy Studios. I was like, oh my god, this looks like a dream. It actually exists. You can have a job as a full-time songwriter. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like what I wanted to do.
Did you
And
get any
then
advice off your
I wrote
dad?
it. My dad, in front of my mum, was like, "I'm not sure if you should. I'm not sure if you should." And then behind my mum's back, he's like, "Go for it, son." Like he's living. He tells me I'm living his dream
Right.
in me. So he's always calling me, giving me feedback, checking my stats, checking my numbers. When
Yeah.
he saw that Dear God was doing really well on YouTube, he's like, Dear God just hit 700,000 streams in 2 months. That's amazing. Look at these numbers. He's like, he's really into it. He's like my thought manager.
Right. Okay. I mean, what did you learn about yourself from taking that chance and saying, right, do you know what, I'm going to go for it?
I I know it's cringe, but you know when they say like believe in your dreams and never
Yeah.
never say never, like all these pretty much like cliche words, they actually make sense when you actually do it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was living in an illegal house in London.
Right.
To move up in the first place because I couldn't afford normal rent. You know, I could only afford £500 a month to live and £500 a month on food. So obviously my place wasn't nice, and I experienced the reality of trying to do something when the odds were against you.
Yeah, yeah,
And I still haven't done something, you know. I mean, obviously I'm so grateful for everything I've achieved so far. But it was a big lesson for me because in Malta, everyone knows who you are, everyone's your friend. I moved to a country at 21 years of age, 21 years of age, 22 years of age, and
yeah,
I found myself with no friends, just spending my days in my room with flatmates. I had no clue who they were on an old tablet trying to find internet because the internet wouldn't work. So it was a real big reality check for me,
yeah,
and it was a big test to even say, do you want this or do you not? Because if I had to want it, I had to endure a lot of hardship and like
yeah. Okay.
letdowns. Music is all about being let down, but going up again until you say somebody tells you yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, what advice you've, like you said, you've suffered those hardships, you've gone through it, you've come out the other side, you've got a record deal. It's on the up for you. I mean, what advice would you give
I
some?
mean, even I'd say even when you sign a record deal, it would. That's one thing I tell people. Don't think as though signing a record deal means you've made it. I feel like signing a record deal is like when the official work begins because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got to push yourself, you know. But to anyone who's in my position and like trying to do something, be yourself and like write music which comes from the heart. I really believe in like honest lyrics. Um,
okay,
I've been saying this in a couple of interviews. The last two songs I've released, especially the one before, Dear God, it's a song which came from my heart, and the amount of comments and calls and messages I've received from fans all over the world related to the lyrics, and
yeah,
that's connected so well because people read the lyrics and feel what you feel and
yeah, yeah,
can relate to your hardship and your hurt, your pain, your happiness, any feeling you're writing about. So being honest in what you write is always going to help you get further and further because all we're trying to do is tell a story, tell our
yeah,
story.
yeah. I mean, what do
So
you get out
it's
of it? How does it help you?
say that again.
How does it help you? I mean, being incredibly honest, it can be quite. You can talk about the good times and the easy times and the nice times. You can also talk about those difficult times. I mean,
I feel like it's a sort of therapy for me
yeah,
because if anyone around me starts to ask me about the tough questions in my life, and my girlfriend can vouch for this, I always used to box up and not answer and get defensive. But
right,
when it comes to lyrics and writing songs, I feel like it's the one thing I can do where I don't have any any doubts in my head to not say what I feel. It
okay,
feels like it's a means of expression, but a true mean of expression. Like I try to fit in as many details and as much honesty in each lyric as possible.
right. Okay, I mean, going forward, then obviously the singles are out. You've had a couple of singles out; they've gone really well for you. What's next? I mean, can we expect an album?
Not an album. I'm about to announce my first EP,
Right.
which I've written over the past year or so. I love the songs on it. There's going to be three more songs, but we already are in the process of creating even more music. Um, uh, Being a writer, first, all I do is write music.
Yeah.
So I'm a songwriter first, artist second in my head, but obviously I love being the artist.
Yeah.
But when you have that setup, what I do every day is just write songs.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
don't write songs, like if I have a week where it's press, photo shoots, video shoots, and I'm not writing songs, a part of me feels strange because I say, as much as I love this because I'm creating my vision even more, and it's no longer just a mood board.
Yeah.
I love being in the studio on the piano, coming up with something on the spot,
Yeah.
collaborating with people, because music brings people together, which is so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about collaborations. Who would your ultimate collaboration be with?
Ooh, Chris Martin,
Oh, okay.
um, and uh, I love Keen. I love Crystal Ball.
Yeah.
I love Somewhere Only We Know. I feel like that's what I've always wanted to try and include in some way in my music. This, I feel like the old rock bands, especially UK rock bands, the U2, Coldplay,
Oh,
um,
okay.
uh,
Yeah.
Snow Patrol, and stuff. It was that 2001 to 2005 sound. I'm not sure if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
that music which which just resonates and just
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of going back
I
then,
want
I
to
mean,
bring that back. I want to try bring that back
yeah, we need that back.
in
I
any
agree
way I
with you.
can.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
going back
I
then
want
to you.
to say again.
No, sorry, what were you saying? Sorry.
I want to. I want my show, if it's a 100 cap venue, to feel like I'm at the Wembley playing Fix You or at Glastonbury in 2001 playing Fix You for the first time. I
Yeah.
want that sensation to come back. People to just feel so good and amazing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like for you playing those songs live?
Which ones?
Well, any of them because they're quite obviously quite personal. So, I mean,
To be
what's
honest, we haven't had our first gig yet. I had my first gig last summer where I played one original song and my two songs with Martin Garrix, and
right?
that was to a crowd of about 20 to 30,000 people, which
Okay.
was pretty mad for my first gig. I felt a
Yeah.
bit overwhelmed because you never know what's it going to be like. But when you go on stage, you see a sea of people waiting for you in the sun. So like they're pretty annoyed with the heat. So you need to make sure that you put in a good
Yeah, I've
show for
been
them
there. Yeah.
to make the wait worth it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I can't wait to sing the new music and the EP coming because I've sung them with a hairbrush in front of a mirror for way too long. It's time to sing them to actual people.
Yeah. I mean, you've talked about Malta and the very kind of small scene. Have people's attitudes to you changed since you've kind of
It's overwhelming. The Maltese family and Maltese crowds here have like given me showered me support. Like
right?
they call me. The whole nation has gone behind me. It's been
Well,
crazy. Like where I literally feel like I have 500,000 people supporting me in
yeah.
Malta because everywhere you go, they stop me, they speak to me. They're like, "You're our boy. You're a boy singing along. We want you to keep on going." They all tell me that they feel like they're all my mums and dads because they many of my fans they would be like parents as well who
Yeah.
have a child the same age as me. So they say when I see you on stage, I feel like I'm seeing my son. So like they all
Brilliant.
feel like they have that extra proud factor. Because I love to
Yeah.
stop and talk to everyone in the street. Like when we're out at pubs, everyone comes up to me and we have pints together, drinks together, talking about my music. They ask me about new songs. They always sing songs to me. It's like it's incredible. It's like when I come home, it's like the homecoming of their boy. So it's like
Yeah.
everyone comes, everyone stops to see you, everyone wants to take a photo. It's overwhelming and it's exciting because obviously you start to realize how many people actually love the music you're creating.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That was obviously no more singing in the shower then.
No.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, just going forward then, obviously one of his successes was Blinding Lights on obviously that got used on Love Island.
Oh mate, that was so surreal. It was one of the best performing covers on the show last year.
Wow.
In a matter of hours, it was the number one discovery song on Shazam for about
Wow.
6 weeks or 5 weeks, where it was stayed at number one, went on the iTunes charts because of the sales. It was surreal. I was like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? We're in the charts for like iTunes UK and we're in the charts for Shazam UK. And I was saying, hopefully that means that the British public are gonna like my voice the more
Yeah.
they hear it.
Yeah. Okay, just on a different note then, on a complete curveball, if your best friend had to write your dating profile, what would they write?
I mean, I'm in a very happy relationship, so hopefully I don't plan to have any
That's a
dating
cop out,
profiles.
that.
But if I had to have a dating profile, my old one was definitely I would have liked them to say that I was a funny guy, a bit eccentric, a bit hyper, messy, impatient. um, I can't stop talking. I can't stop laughing. I basically have the mental age of a child. I love silly jokes.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm watching Instagram or TikTok and a reel comes up with some silly thing, I'm the first one to giggle and send it to all my mates.
Yep. You and me both.
Like I'm the type of guy who plays video games till 5 in the morning. Still, and I'm
Yeah.
27. So
Brilliant.
like, if you ever play Rocket League, you should play with us. We're a bunch of guys in the music industry who play together. It's hilarious.
Perfect. Brilliant. Well, I think we're pretty much covered. I mean, just obviously life's gone really well. Like you said, you've had some hardships, but it's going really well for you, and I hope it continues. Just as an artist and as a person, what are your kind of ambitions for the rest of the year and going forward beyond that?
I just love progression. I love progress. I understand the one thing I understand and can relate with artists in these days is stuff takes time. Obviously, when I look back at my career, ever since from becoming a real estate agent to becoming a musician, I'd say I've been very lucky to have a number one album with the script as my first cut, to have songs with Sigala, songs with Mimi Webb. I've got another two songs with Mimi and Sigala coming in the next few weeks on March 3rd. I'm really grateful for all the highs already, and I know lows come along with the highs.
Yeah,
So I've had my fair share of low moments in this industry and fair share of high moments in this industry. And what I'd say is like I wish I can just keep on talking to myself and remind myself that it's a long marathon which I'm on,
yeah,
and I'm just trying to stay up and do what I can to release music I love because that's like people forget about it. I think you must see it a lot. Everyone in the industry talks about numbers and stuff, and
yeah,
when it
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
boils down to it's like what I try to remind myself when I start looking at numbers, saying stop what you're doing and think about the music. And um, there was a recent story which touched my heart where I was always checking because when I saw Dear God start moving on YouTube, I was checking every day, saying, "What's the next day gonna be like? What's the next day gonna be like?"
Yeah.
And then I received a message from a man who just lost his daughter. He told me he uses my song as a prayer to her to make her
Wow.
stay. And I literally stopped and and told myself, this has shook me to the core
Yeah.
because
Your numbers don't matter then.
he thanked me for the song that he every time he thinks about his daughter, he plays the song and thinks about her and tries to smile and tries to hope that she's better in a better place. And obviously, heartbroken as he is, he uses a song I wrote in my bedroom as a message to her, which is you're connecting. It's a connection which you can't even explain or you can't
Yeah.
see. Like it took me so long to digest it because we're not talking about a young love. We're not talking about an ex-boyfriend and an ex-girlfriend. We're talking about a son who lost his 2-year-old daughter
Yeah. Yeah.
to sickness. And for me, that meant so much to me. I I I just my heart went out for him and I tried to see if I could do anything else to talk to him, to be there for him. Because music if you can write music to help a person, to me, you're doing a great job.
Yeah. I mean,
And we
how does
should
that make you feel as a writer when somebody's got that connection with your lyrics and your words?
I've had a change that has really helped me look at music differently, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm not going to lie to you. I'm guilty. I was the type of artist to look at stats and look at numbers and obsess over numbers, which
Yeah.
is I mean numbers isn't everything now. Sports, athletics, work, life, numbers. But sometimes it takes something to hit you when you least expect it. A message, a call,
Yeah.
um, which that was exactly it. It hit me when I least expect it, and it was a Sunday. I remember it exactly. It was about 2 weeks after it came out on a Sunday morning. I received a message on my Instagram, and I just said, "Well,
Yeah.
that's it hit the heart in a way which has never been hit before."
Yeah. So, I mean, you've talked about the kind of hardships you felt when you kind of you experienced when you came through to London. Did it kind of put that into perspective?
It's it managed. Pain is something which everyone goes through differently, and obviously, I I've written about it in different ways, which you hear in the EP.
Yeah.
I've written about it in ways where I found somebody who means the world to me, and she managed to help me um, uh, improve and get back on my feet again. So pain is something which is indescribable for many. So being able to have people relate to the song and it be a source and means of happiness or closure for them is so special.
So just to wrap up, then, I mean, it's been great talking to you. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do next. And
I can't wait to show you the new music. I can't wait to hopefully meet you in person, see you at a
yeah,
gig. I'm I love the music I'm creating, and it's something which has taken me a while to say, but because confidence is always key and
Yeah.
subjective in this. You wake up as an artist on a Monday and you're feeling like I'm going to take on the world, and then a Tuesday comes in, you receive
Yeah.
maybe some support or some feedback which might not be um uh, as big, and you feel like you everything is closing in on you. So it's nice to be able to have these conversations with people like you who understand. I feel like you really understand me when I'm speaking to you. So thank you so much for being so understanding.
No, it's definitely. I mean, I've been really interested in your story. I mean, I wish you all the luck in the world. I mean, you sound like everything's going in the right direction, and yeah, definitely.
Mate, you know what we say? One of my A&Rs once told me that you're an ex-real estate agent from Malta. Your story has never been heard before.
Yeah,
You're so really underdogs, and it's only upwards from here. So like I always tell myself, this might have not been ever meant to happen because whenever you see artists in the industry, you know what I mean. Some have contacts to get them in there. I literally never lived in the UK before the
yeah.
day I met Sigala. So I was like literally like, okay, I'm going to this place called London. I'm going to check it out. I hadn't been to London in 14 years before that, you know, so I had no
Wow.
idea what I was going to find myself when I went in.
Yeah.
So it's just like, so what I tell myself is like, to wherever I reach, I'll say it's been an incredible journey. And if everything had to end tomorrow, I'd be so grateful for the time I had to write with incredible writers, write for incredible singers, and have my music played to millions of people.